Right. Hello. So today I want to try and do a sort of sparring breakdown type video because I think me and Alex, are at a level now where we could benefit from actually analyzing our moves and what we're doing and sort of work out what we did right and what we should have done differently. And I also just want to get a more thorough understanding of the exchanges because I feel like some of the things that happen in a fight you do automatically and you don't really realize you're doing it. And by having a deeper understanding of what you're actually doing, you can then optimize that motion. I mean, Alex likes to do a glove touch at the start to just make sure we're both ready. Alex opens with a lead leg. Oh no, that's a rear leg roundhouse, was it? I like to do a little bit of hip hop movement there to try and. So sometimes it's to keep my legs moving, so it's hard for my opponent to predict what I'm doing. But in this case, it sort of worked out as like a bait because Alex just took it as an opening.
Guys, a bunch of the cheese fell out my sandwich.
Poor Harrison lost his cheese. So, I've switched from my lead leg, my southpaw, to an orthodox, more like Thai style stance now. Be a bit more defensive. Alex doing well with the leg kicks there, probing. Switch back to my shell stance. Ooh. See this part. It's so close to hitting his head with that kick. So I switch to here, and you can see here, I go to throw like a body jab, like a drop step jab, but it's a fake. It's a fake out with the intention of turning it into a lead leg high kick. And look at how close that is to hitting him in the head. And Alex does a good job of seeing that coming, and he moves back preemptively, which means he narrowly avoids it. And I think he does that because I've caught him out with that move before, like the exact same feint, a jab to the body, turn it into a high kick. Caught him on the chin once. So this time he's learnt from that. He goes to like sort of parry low, it looks like, just in case, but he does move backwards at the same time, and that allows him to get out the way.
Almost for nostalgia purposes.
Bit off frame there. Ooh. See here, I parry a kick with my hand that wasn't even going to hit me. That's a bad habit I have. I often think, okay, it's better to get hit in the hand than get hit in the leg, which sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But in that case, for example, if I didn't put my hand there, I would not have got hit. It would have just completely missed. So that was just dumb. Now here, Alex goes for a spinning back kick or a turning side kick if you want to call it that. As I go for a Yokogeri Kakomi, like side thrust kick, striding side kick. And I hit Alex on the ass, and Alex kind of misses me. But because I hit Alex on the ass as he was spinning, I end up turning away from him. I end up off balance, and now I'm facing with my back to Alex. Really not a position you want to be in. At that point, I instinctively shell up my head because I'm afraid of getting punched in the back of the head, which is good. And I try and get out of the situation. Alex is measuring his cross there, I think. Sort of puts his hand up to my head like he's about to jab, but he doesn't do the jab. He's just trying to figure out how far he needs to punch. And here I get a nice parry with a sort of weird cross block thing. As I step back, I keep retreating backwards, whereas I think at this point I should have started trying to go round Alex, and I could have then followed up with some sort of like counter to the body. Would have been much more effective than keep going backwards, but I think I was quite disorientated from what had just happened. I post up my leg to try and stop him from kicking me, and I think he kind of does the same. Now here, I'm kind of posting on his head, and he tries to go over with an overhand, and I do a very, very wide slip with my eyes shut. So in that scenario, I should have. The slip was good, but it could have been less exaggerated, and I should have, kept my eyes open so I could see what's going on. And I keep going because I don't know where he is now because I had my eyes shut. I try and block, punch to the head, and goes around the other way, and then we end up in a clinch. So let's just watch that full speed. The kick, check, parry, slip, duck. Then we end up in a clinch. So now Alex is taller than me by 2, maybe 3 inches. I would say I'm 5'9". He's like 6'1", something like that. So he often ends up having whenever we enter a clinch, he ends up kind of like pushing my head down because it's just naturally easier for him to do that, which means I end up being near his legs, which means naturally it's easier for me to go for a takedown. So he ends up like punching me in the head while I shoot for his legs. That's normally how our clinches go, and that's exactly what happens here. I go for a very shabby single leg takedown, so my back's very bent there. I'm in kind of a bad position, but I managed to get Alex's leg, spin him around. Alex makes the interesting decision to just kind of like Disney princess mode, be held by me like that. He still has me in a headlock at this point though, so things are looking a bit confusing here for both of us. Now at this point, I wasn't sure whether to try and keep holding him to like get out of the headlock, or whether to drop him, or whether to slam him. A lot of things were going through my head, and I've never really been in this specific scenario before. So what I ended up doing is I remembered that clip of Rampage Jackson slamming a guy on the floor and knocking him out with it. So I decided to basically do a light version of that. Obviously, we're sparring, we're playing. I don't want to actually hurt Alex. So I do just kind of drop both of us together. So here it is in full speed. Putting down. Now at this point, Alex loses the headlock, I think. I don't know. I think it was partially because his body kind of rolls over to the side. You can see how his legs are oriented there, which means he couldn't keep the headlock properly. At which point I kind of slip out. He's got his other arm around the back of my neck, but I've got both my arms braced against him, so he can't pull me in. He's trying to use his legs to kind of like shift his weight. And now this is where Alex makes a big mistake here, is he tries to get up while facing away from me, even though I was already on my knees. So Alex was on his back, I was already on my knees, and he basically just gives me his back, essentially. And I jump at the opportunity. I kind of lock on to his shoulders
10,
and manage to grab a choke. And then as I pull him
9,
down, I put the
8.
hooks in. So now the hook's in. I've got one arm under his neck, like over the front of his neck, but I don't have the choke secured yet, but I do have the hooks in, so he's kind of buggered at this point. And if you can hear Harrison counting down, that's like 10 seconds left on the round timer at this point. Me and Alex fight with a round timer that lasts 1 minute and 10 seconds at the moment, because this encourages us both to be more aggressive and kind of get more done. Whereas if there's no round time or the round's a lot longer, we end up kind of both keeping our distance far too much, and it's harder to learn that way, and you don't actually get much done. So with the round timer being short, it forces us to engage more. So I get
7,
the I get the
6.
choke. Alex taps. Now I didn't actually have the choke properly secured, and as you can tell, Alex tapped quite quickly. But we're both not very used to being choked. We're not jiu-jitsu guys, so yeah, we're still getting familiar with that. And I told Alex afterwards. I said to him, I think you tapped a bit early, and you might have been able to play for time. But I did. I probably would have got him a little bit after that anyway, even if he did wait. So that was a good round. But so this is round two. It's not round two. It's like round five. I don't know. We've been going for a while at this point. But touch gloves, leg kick, leg kick. That really unsteadied me. That was really bad play. See, I kind of skimmed him. Look at this. So Alex kind of like jumps into that. He's kicking a football. Hits me on the sort of back of the knee, and as he hits me as I'm moving, so it kind of really unsteadies me. But he doesn't capitalize on it, so I'm alright. He could have followed up there, and he probably would have been able to land a good shot on my head because I wouldn't have been able to react given the position of my legs. Now here, this next exchange looks very. Everything kind of happens very quickly, but essentially, I fly towards Alex with my lead leg raised. The reason I do this is because Alex has a tendency to counter with a kick. So if I try to get in close to punch, he'll kind of stick his leg out with a snapping kick, and that prevents me from getting too close. So what I do is I raise my leg as like a preemptive kick check, like a shin check, so that even if he does kick, I will check the kick. And it also, to Alex, it looks like I'm throwing a kick of my own, which means that on the way in, he will be defending, which means I can then get in closer to him, basically. That's the idea. So you see my leg goes towards him like I'm kicking to stop him from kicking. Alex goes for a counter jab that I partially parry, partially slip. My fake kick kind of starts to land, immobilizing his leg, and I come in with this like big sweeping hook to the chin, and I catch him fairly nicely with it. So full speed, that looks like this. It's quite a light punch, so we keep our sparring light. Nice denial kick there, although I ended up taking all of the energy from that movement and like flying backwards. Pop this off frame here. Alex scores a nice leg kick there. That almost rocked me off. Here I'm so focused on parrying his attacks as he closes in that I don't manage to defend against the clinch very well. Alex gets me in a headlock. He's going for a guillotine choke of some sort. We've played around with them a bit. He managed to secure one at one point. However, on this one, I had my chin too far down, so my chin was locked against his arm, so he didn't have my neck. He kind of just like had my head. He really wanted the choke. I was trying, at this point, I sort of realized that he wasn't going to get it, so I just sort of started trying to relax a bit more and be comfortable there. You can hear me telling him, "You don't have it," because I wanted to let him know that he didn't have the choke.
Got 40 seconds of
So
this.
when Alex realizes he doesn't have the choke, he starts just punching me in the head. At which point I'm like, okay, I need to do something about this. So I managed to slip out. Now the reason I was able to slip out is because when you have two hands on a guillotine, it's very hard to escape the guillotine. But Alex took one of his hands off so he could punch me in the head, which then allowed me to slither away like that. Because now I had two of my hands against one of his arms to lever his hand off of me. So if he'd kept both hands on, he could have probably kept me in the headlock, but at the same time, there wasn't much point keeping me in the headlock because he didn't have the chin. There might have been some maneuver he could have done to secure the choke there, but I don't know it. So I don't think he did anything badly there. Now this was a blunder, this part. So I managed to take Alex's back, right? And there's a lot of things you can do once you have someone's back. I could have gone for some sort of choke and like pulled him to the floor like I did last round, and that might have worked. But he was also trying to avoid it, and we were kind of spinning, so that might have been a bit risky. So what I ended up going for was a classic sort of like wrestling slam, like a side slam. Um, and you'll see how that did not work at all. So again, bear in mind Alex is taller than me, and now look at where my arms are positioned on him. Uh, you can see I'm holding him sort of by the rib cage. So that was attempt one. I just kind of like throw him around, and then I'm like, okay, we'll go for another attempt two, and yeah.
Alex is hard to take down.
In the end, I completely gassed myself out with those two throw attempts, like fully gone, and nothing to show for it. Alex is still standing up, and now I'm just fucked. So I think what I should have done there, I think this was a matter of technique, like quite literally was just a skill issue. I was throwing Alex to the side when I think you're supposed to pull him up first, so his legs are off the ground, and then you're supposed to go to the side. but I didn't do that. I just straight pull him to the side, so I'm already tilting. And look at the angle of my body, but obviously the angle of his isn't matching that. So I either need to pull him tighter to my body, or I need to pick him up before I then try and throw him.
Damn, Alex is hard to take down.
So complete failure on that front. When I'm gassed out, I just shove him away. We have a little discussion, even though the round time is still going. Then we continue. So you can tell just by how I'm like moving my head, I'm knackered at this point. I immediately go on the defensive. I don't think much really happens. Oh, actually, I score a little shot to the head there. It's hard to tell if he hit me as well to the camera. But I just play very defensive now. I've got my guard up and posting and everything. And there's the timer. End of the round. So those were the two main fight rounds. Now these are just a little couple clips that are interesting to me. So this next clip is a little bit of just a weird exchange I thought I'd put in. It's been slowed down to make things easier to see. But basically, I got my shell up. Alex goes for this sort of fake kick, which makes me step back into my orthodox stance. And I kind of move my arms a bit. But he fakes the kick into like a stiff jab to the face. You can see here, I post up my leg as like a preemptive check. And I kind of go, I'm not really sure if he hits me properly there. I think he skims my ear. But also he kind of pushes my own glove into my face. So I do get a bit rocked, and you can see there as well, it looks like I end up going for a kick. I think initially it was supposed to be a check. That's why I don't twist my hips, but I do still hit him in the body. It's a very like sloppy moment. I just thought it was interesting. And then this is where Alex kicks me in the nuts.
Sorry. Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
I thought that was supposed to stop the penis pain.
It doesn't stop the pain, it just stops it from killing you.
Jamie, someone call an ambulance.
I'm so sorry.
That's gonna hurt for like 20 minutes.
I'm so sorry. Alex versus Harrison, go.
Alright. I'll avenge you, Jamie. I'll avenge you. Give me your glove.
I felt the...
It did in fact take about 20 minutes for me to feel better.